Well, let's just kind of bring into play some of the lines historically that you brought into play after the acid line was introduced, and you began to see success with that.
Shortly after introducing acid, we had a number of different brands that also took on the concept of working with tobacco in unique ways. For instance, our natural line uses
I remember that. Beautiful.
After that, we entered into a licensing agreement with the makers of Kahlua cigars. We had a Kahlua infused cigar. That lasted for 5 years until the license agreement ended. After that, we developed Tobacco Especial, which is our own coffee-infused cigar. We also have a coffee-infused line for Rocky Patel. It's called Java. It's a joint venture with Rocky Patel and Drew Estate. But you know what, Stu? About, what are we in now? 2010. Sometime around 2004, Jonathan and I realized that we really had a strong desire to get back into traditional cigars. In about 2005, late 2005, we came across wrapper leaf that we fell in love with instantly, and it's Connecticut broadleaf. And Connecticut broadleaf is very difficult to cure, to ferment. It takes almost 2 years until that cigar, from the time it's planted in the ground until you can roll the cigar, is approximately 2 years. And then we age the cigar for another year. And that was after a year and a half of development and trying various different blends. We created Liga Privada number 9, which is used from, like I said, genuine Connecticut broadleaf tobacco that we shipped from Connecticut into our factory in Nicaragua. We fermented ourselves, we cured ourselves, we treated ourselves. It's all natural, no machinery in our factory.
Which, in this particular case, is this particular cigar here that I'm enjoying.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, this was also by accident. Hey, let me hold that cigar for you, Stu. This cigar right here is drop that, there you go. That's the Liga Privada T52. Now, how did this cigar come to be is kind of an interesting tale. About 4 or 5 years ago, while in the Connecticut Valley looking after our broadleaf crop, the president of my company, Steve Saka, and our head of tobacco procurement and quality control, his name is Nicholas Melillo, they were in Connecticut in the tobacco curing barns. And what they saw blew them away. Most of the barn was dedicated to our crop of Connecticut broadleaf. Now, Connecticut broadleaf, what happens is the stalks grow, and then after they reach maturity, you begin to prime the tobacco leaf. So the bottom leaf, we call the Seco leaf, you cut the bottom leaf off. You wait about a couple weeks, 10, 12 days, then you go to your second priming, the second leaf from the bottom, and you keep on going up and up and up until you hit the ligero leaf, which is about 8 or 9 primings later.
Now, is this the harvest process, or is this pre-harvest?
This is harvesting. This is how you harvest your tobacco. And that is how 99.99% of all premium tobacco leaves are harvested. But what we saw in the what they saw in the tobacco curing barns was very different. Hanging in the barns were entire stalks of tobacco, and
with all the leaves.
With all the leaves on it. So what was this? Our farmer, he had a child late in life, and he was trying to teach his kid, who was in his early 20s, the long-lost art of stalk cutting. And what stalk cutting is instead of priming the tobacco leaves, we take a machete, lop off the entire stalk, take a wooden spear, jam it through the center of the stalk, and hang it upside down.
In the warehouse?
In the warehouse. Now, it takes about an additional 30 days or so for the tobacco leaves to actually dry in the curing barn. We call that our first step of fermentation. Why is that? The tobacco leaves are now sucking all of the nutrients, the vitamins, nutrients, oils, trying to survive in the barn, and what's left is an extremely, if you take a look at this wrapper leaf, Look at the oils that are on this. It's just incredible. All these oils are trapped and they are sucked from the stalk directly onto the leaf. Now, why isn't all tobacco done this way? Cost. It costs us we lose about 50% yield by doing that. Now, yes, it's more expensive, Stu, but I think, the taste, though, is just absolutely incredible.
Well, I can attest to that right now. This is an absolutely phenomenal cigar.
Thanks, Stu. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. And basically, just so people know, for you geeks out there, Liga Privada T52, the T52 stands for the Connecticut State Tobacco Growers Association's designation of that Habano seed wrapper. The seed is from Habano, from Havana, but it's from Cuba, but it's grown in the Connecticut Valley. So
now, do they import the seed, or is this seed stock that was brought in many years ago before pre-embargo?
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Now, does that pretty much wrap up the lineup that you have to date?
Well, we have a new, very limited, let's call it, sideline to the Liga Privada line. The first one was called the Dirty Rat. And the Dirty Rat is a 5x42 ring gauge, very thin cigar. It's a Corona-sized cigar. What makes that cigar different is, see, when you're smoking a full...
Let me interrupt you there for just a moment. I got a couple of boxes of those today, so
cool.
We're going to be talking about those a little bit later.
Nice.
But go ahead with the description.
Here's the thing. What makes that cigar so special? Well, it's a Corona cigar, right? Well, most Corona-sized cigars have about 2, maybe 3 filler leaves in the blend. When you go to 50, 52 ring gauge or more, you'll have 5 leaves in the blend, filler leaves, for a total of 7 leaves in a full ring gauge cigar such as this Tabak Especial that I'm smoking right now. What we do with that cigar is we take scissors and we cut the leaves in thin strips. And we take those thin strips of long filler leaf tobacco and we roll the bunch, all 5 leaves of the Liga Privada blend. We use the same T52 wrapper as on the Liga Privada T52. And there you go, there's the Dirty Rat.
And by the way, Dirty Rat is just about sold out nationwide.
Well, we only have 2 bunchers, who have been able to do this successfully. It's very difficult.
And these are the guys that you told me about with the little hands.
Yeah, they got little hands.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So there's the total allotment is basically 350 cigars a day that comes out of my factory nationwide. That's all that we have for the total Dirty Rat production. Our second special cigar that we have that's part of the Liga Privada line is called the Flying Pig. Now the Flying Pig,
which I obtained a couple of boxes today as well.
Yes, and you're lucky.